Namaste Namaste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Prasthatara Satani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna. So I think so Gaya's on the road to work.
Thank
Krishna. Sorry, Mother, I think you was quite, it would have suited you well at 6 o'clock. But let's see. Let's try for that next week. Okay, so we are continuing with the offenses to be avoided in chanting the pure name. So let's, I saw Mother Lavanga, you had your hand up. You can begin reading. Mother.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Disobeying or disrespecting the spiritual master. All glories to Shri Panchatattva and Shri Radhamadava. All glories to Navadvitam, Rajadam, Yamuna Devi, and to all the Vaishnava devotees. Srila Haridas Thakur said, "O Lord, kindly allow me to explain the third Nam Aparad. This Aparad is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master or to disrespect him. The soul travels through many lifetimes in different bodies and at last gets the chance of a rare human birth, which is auspicious in every respect. The soul has rotated through 8,400,000 different species by agyata sukriti or involuntary pious activities. The soul finally attains a human body. A birth in the human form is most uncommon because only in that body are spiritual activities possible, not in any other species. A demigod or denizen of the heavenly planets is destined only to enjoy the reactions of his past pious activities. He cannot voluntarily initiate any saintly activities. The animals are likewise bound by karmic reactions and are too steeped in gross ignorance to undertake any pious activities independently. The human birth alone is most conducive for spiritual life and for service to the Supreme Lord. Yet the fact remains that this body is transient. If one does not carefully endeavor for self-realization, which is the greatest benediction, then he returns again to the endless cycle of birth and death. An intelligent person will therefore utilize this rare opportunity. He will search out a spiritual master who can lead him to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Such a spiritual master is truly a helmsman who can help the drowning jiva cross over the ocean of material nescience. Only the most foolish persons will attempt to cross this ocean by their own intelligence. The achievement of any success in this world requires the help of a guru's instructions. How then can one obtain perfection in the best of all subjects, spiritual science, without the aid of guru? Only one who is self-realized and fully proficient in spiritual knowledge is fit to be a spiritual master. A few of the characteristics of a bona fide spiritual master are that he is peaceful, unperturbed, and a pure devotee of Krishna. He should be approached with humility. The jiva should satisfy him with service and receive formal initiation from him into the worship of Lord Krishna. Herein lies his best chance to surmount the material entanglement. The jiva's inherent love for Krishna lies dormant in the heart and can easily be revived. But he can easily lose his chance through speculative debates and mischievous logic. He must evade such pitfalls, surrender to the spiritual master's instructions, and receive the proper mantra from him. As for householders, they should remain within the varnashram system and take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. A Brahmana is fit to be a spiritual master for all the other varnas or social orders if he is a devotee of Lord Krishna. But if a Brahmana spiritual master is not available, then a spiritual master from another varna should be searched out. Still, the householder is best advised to accept initiation from a Brahmana varna spiritual master. A real spiritual master is one who is conversant with the science of Krishna consciousness. A spiritual master can be from any varna or ashram, but he must be a kalpataru or touchstone which converts iron into gold, fulfilling everyone's spiritual longings. The prestige of having a spiritual master from a superior varna is a material consideration. That prestige simply depends on the caste status of the one who is judging the spiritual master's caste. External factors such as caste have hardly any bearing on spiritual realization. Necessity demands that one must find a spiritual master who is bona fide and qualified. If he happens to belong to a higher varna, so much the better. A householder should look for a spiritual master from one of the higher varnas. If he finds one who is qualified, then he must not look for one from a lower varna. It must be noted well, though, that in looking for a high class, I need to change the page, spiritual master, one should not choose an unqualified person simply for the prestige of having a spiritual master from a higher varna.
Okay, perhaps we'll pause there. Yeah, so any questions about that?
Can I see the previous page again?
Sorry. Yeah. We're quite familiar with this in ISKCON. We're quite well educated in the principle accepting the guru. But here it's giving some specific details.
I find it quite strange that it says in the third paragraph, a demigod or denizen of the heavenly planets is destined only to enjoy the reactions of his past pious activities. He cannot voluntarily initiate any saintly activities.
Which paragraph is that?
The one beginning with the soul travels. The third paragraph.
Oh, the soul travels. So the question is that
a demigod or denizen of the heavenly planets is destined only to enjoy the reactions of his past pious activities.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He cannot voluntarily initiate any saintly activities. And then it says animals are likewise bound by karmic reactions. So it's kind of comparing them to animals. That they're bound by the karmic situation.
Oh, yeah, and us as well, humans on this planet Earth as well. And that's unless one receives the grace of a spiritual master. So this is the point, is that having gained a rare human form, and he mentions, as we know, the number which Prabhupada often quotes, 8,400,000 species. Yeah. So the human form, let me read this, because only, if the human being takes up spiritual activities, then he is better situated than a demigod or the denizen or the heavenly planets, because although they're devotees, but they're mixed and they're very much enamored and absorbed in a high level of sense gratification.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it says. I mean, it says that they're just destined to enjoy the reactions.
So
it sounds like they cannot get out of that karma very easily. I mean, it says they can't at least they cannot voluntarily initiate any saintly activities. I don't know what that means. Yeah,
well, actually there's prayers in the Bhagavatam where the demigods, they actually lament and they pray to become humans.
Yeah, they want to come to this.
Yeah, because they're very much distracted by sense gratification. So therefore, the quest or the desire for self-realization is not really a need for them, so-called, they think. But as we know, that as they enjoy, then they lessen their pious credits, and they will fall down from that platform. So in other words, so better situated as a human being, and better situated as a human being who actually takes to spiritual life, And yeah, as you've mentioned, then the correlation is given to animals. Yeah, well, they don't have any independence to choose to act dharmically or adharmically. They are much more bound. Yeah. But so the human birth is better than the denizen, better than a demigod, and better than an animal. So we've done something right. At least we've got the human form, and we can feel the pinches of material existence. Therefore, we're inquiring Therefore, we're eager to take up spiritual life. But it's good, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. And it's also mentioned about being, again, this, we spoke about this to some extent, being discriminating in the choice of a spiritual master. So it's mentioned in the first instance, one should look for a spiritual master, which Prabhupada doesn't mention this so often. He doesn't speak often in this regard, that you should accept a spiritual master from the Brahmana varna.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that's in the last paragraph of this page, then that's further clarified, that better is someone who's Krishna. If someone is Krishna conscious, it doesn't matter what varna they're in. That supersedes everything. Other than that, you're going to look for a spiritual master from a higher varna, from a higher spiritual varna. But actually, better is, if someone is Krishna conscious, then it does not matter. Even if they come from a Malecha background. Of course, some people in India will not agree with this at all. Come from a lot of our spiritual masters, are different for different. They don't come from Bharatavarsha. They come from Malecha Desh, which they call. But the highest principle is to be Krishna conscious. Yeah. Any questions on that? Oh, let me just. Yeah, he mentions this is the prestige of having a spiritual master from a superior varna. There is some rumblings. It's not very widespread, but ISKCON, there's many devotees and many different opinions. There are some opinions which were supposedly being put forth from the Indian side of ISKCON. Not a very you could say a very called right, we could say right-winged, you could say, but in the understanding of varna and ashram, and in developing it, some of the, I would say, wrong opinion, very wrong opinion, that only those born in India can be spiritual masters. Yeah. And there's some people say anyone who has, this is more the smarters, anyone who has eaten meat in their life cannot be a spiritual master. They have to drop that body. In other words, they have to die. If they continue doing their pious and in these spiritual activities in this life, then next life, they can take birth in Bharat. And then they're qualified to give diksa. So believe it or not, some of these things are put forward in our society. Well, not that extreme one from the Brahmanas.
But that's a total lack of their understanding of the Shastras.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's the intellectual who are interpreted as they see it, but not realizing that is not what is written in the Shastras.
Yeah, especially us coming in Prabhupada's line.
Exactly. I mean, the trouble he had with all these white American boys and girls going there, I mean, for them it was a culture shock to begin with. Yeah. And then there are the troublemakers who were putting all these things forward. It's just pure envy, Prabhu. Yeah,
you might look at it like that. Yeah. But fortunately, it's not gained much credit at all. No, it's so way out there. Yeah. It's not really considered, but some have put that forward. Yeah. That only those born in Bharat should be gurus.
You don't realize how many dogs there are in Bharat. I mean, in human forms. So, all these right-wingers, they think, I mean, what's going on there, that they think only Krishna, Ram exists, nothing else matters. I mean,
Yeah,
That is not what our Shastras are saying.
yeah.
So
I think we can all agree on that. Definitely. Yeah, again, this is looking at it from a material perspective, but spiritual principles are they completely transcend the material conception. Yeah, and there's that verse, isn't it? That I need to learn it, but that verse which is recited at the Diksha initiation, Apavitro Pavitro Vasa Sasvitam Mukham, something like that. That one who just remembers the name of Vishnu or Krishna becomes purified. Yeah, just by remembering the name of Vishnu. And there's so many verses like that, simply by chanting the holy name. Yeah. All right. Any other questions on this? We can edge on. Who's got the reading hand up? There's a few hands. Let me.
Only me, nobody else.
Okay, go on then. Chandravali, you can read. So a house of. So now it's making distinction as well between those who hold houses, who are holding houses, and those who are not. You can continue here. If for some reason.
Okay. If for some reason a householder leaves home to embrace the life of renunciation and has still not been able to satisfy his spiritual yearnings, he naturally requires a saintly spiritual master. For such a renunciant, a spiritual master in a renounced order is best. By his spiritual guidance and initiation, the renunciant will very quickly relish the ecstasy of chanting the holy name. A householder devotee may suddenly feel the burden of family life affecting his spiritual quest. Though he leaves home, he need not give up his previous spiritual master. A householder is advised to seek the shelter of a householder spiritual master if he is qualified and pure. If a householder spiritual master is not available, he may take initiation from a qualified renunciant guru. In any case, his spiritual master must be qualified. Under his guru's spiritual instruction, the neophyte begins devotional life and is gradually elevated to experience transcendental loving emotions in the service of the Lord. He develops distaste for material life and then becomes a renunciant. Such development are the natural course of things. Once he is in the renounced order, he is obliged to have a spiritual master who is renunciant. He must be instructed in the life of renunciation from the renounced spiritual master and accept from him the vesha or clothes of a mendicant.
Any questions about that? Or
this, I was thinking that a householder spiritual master must have a guru who is a householder. 6 advice to seek the shelter of householder spiritual master.
yeah, I think there's a crossover here of the original, of the traditional Vedic setting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how generally things was done in an originally householder setting. The guru will be situated in the village, and then the other, different families, they would take initiation from him, and perhaps the children would go to be instructed by him. Yeah. But I know it's a principle if, like, say if, who's the householder? We've got many, like Vaisheshika, Vaisheshika, he's a household guru. So you'll notice that all the household gurus, then they will not give sannyas. They cannot give sannyas. Only a sannyasi can actually give sannyas. So that's following this principle, which is instructed here.
Okay.
Someone who's going to enter the renounced order of life, then they would take the renounced order of life from a renunciate, not from a householder.
So would they have brahmacharis as their disciples?
Who, the householder gurus? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's brahmachari to begin with. That's the Gurukul system.
Yeah. But I was just
They're all brahmacharis.
Mm-hmm.
And then some, and then, so, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I know Vaisheshika, he has brahmacharis. Kripamoya has a brahmachari disciple.
Mm.
Yeah, like that. So it doesn't, in a modern context, it doesn't quite fit into what's being described here.
Yeah, I was just thinking like,
Not completely.
I'm married, but I mean, I'm telling my brahmacharis, don't get married. It's this. It's a bit difficult.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's the correct. Yeah, that's the way. If someone, yeah, then they're not going to have the same fire of renunciation, and they may not encourage that in the same way. If one is a householder.
Yeah, because I've often heard them like saying, "Oh, my wife is really good. Me and my wife do this, that." So that makes it a bit like.
Yeah, so it's an interesting social phenomenon in ISKCON.
Yeah.
Probably those who it's something someone might want to consider, dare we say, when they're negotiating taking initiation. Say if they're attracted to more a renounced life, then you may say naturally they're going to be attracted to a sannyasi guru.
Mm.
It may be. But then you've got gurus who are sannyasis and they initiate anyone and everyone. And they give inspiration for spiritual practice, and they also give guidance of how to practice spiritual life to some degree within the Grihastha ashram. But say, if for someone, if someone's a young man and they're very much inspired, at least to become a renunciate, brahmachari, whatever it may be, then they would naturally, you would think, be attracted to a sannyasi.
Yeah, because as they advance in their spiritual, I'm just thinking like if they advance, when that devotee who's first taken initiation, and then as he's advancing, then he wants to renounce things and all that. And then when he's taken it from Grahastha Sannyas, Grahastha Guru, then it's little, I don't know how he would be going because.
Yeah, generally what might happen there is that the Grihastha Guru would direct him to a sannyasi guru for shiksha in the line of renunciation. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
He may direct him to take shelter or to take favorite sannyas, and he would direct him to take sannyas from one of his godbrothers who is a sannyasi, and thereby also take some level of shiksha from him.
Mm.
Yeah.
That makes a bit of sense because
Yeah.
like I'm thinking like say if I've taken from a Grahastha Guru or then if I then want to go completely surrender to Krishna and want to give up all these attachments, and then my Guru is still speaking, me and my wife did this, we went here with this, that, then it would kind of distract me.
Yeah, I can understand it. You are.
I'm just thinking to myself. I'm just thinking.
Then you might not find that so inspiring.
Yeah, that's what I mean. To progress in my spiritual life, I'll be thinking, oh, but I didn't, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, as it stands in the early developments of ISKCON, it is that we got sannyasis who are traveling and accepting disciples from all varnas and ashrams. Yeah, but traditionally, but say if we develop socially, and we go past just being a movement to a society in countries, then it will be more natural that there will be householder gurus who will initiate householders.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, big topic. Yeah. Do you want to? I just stopped you on one paragraph there, so you can continue reading. If there, anyway.
Okay. So
There are two kinds of spiritual masters.
So I've got like Diksha Guru and Siksha Guru equally respected. There are two kinds of spiritual master: the initiating spiritual master or Diksha Guru, and the instructing spiritual master or Siksha Guru. Both gurus have to be respected equally. This is the key to spiritual success. The Diksha Gurus initiates a person into the chanting of the holy name and the Diksha mantra, while the Siksha Guru imparts spiritual conclusion to the disciple. This spiritual knowledge specifically means Sambandha Gyan, or the knowledge of the Jiva's relationship with the Supreme Lord, and his multifarious energies. The Diksha Guru is one, but Shiksha Guru can be many. In fact, all the Vaishnava devotees are Shiksha Gurus, but both the Diksha Guru and the many Shiksha Gurus are to be equally respected.
Okay, so this is directly from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 1.
Oh, can I ask a question on this then?
Yes.
So now you know, like we have devotees who Bhakti Shoma is not there, so then they take second initiation from different gurus.
Mm, yeah.
So then when they're chanting their Gayatri and that, what happens? Do they go to their original guru or the, you know?
What do you mean go to? I mean, what do they
meditate on?
Huh. Interesting question.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Has anyone asked that question?
Yes.
Here to the, I think we've got a few devotees here with us.
Yes.
Who have taken in second initiation. Has anyone done that? Who are this first disciples of Bhakti True Swami and then taken second initiation from, say, Kadamba Kanana Maharaj? Don't think it's normal.
Prabhu, that's me. Yes, Prabhu, that's me.
Yeah. Did you get any instruction on the meditation upon your Gayatri, especially the Guru Gayatri?
No. It was, you know, it's like, I mean, there's an instruction on what to do, yes. But, you know, I mean, the question that Mata is asking is a question that I asked Mata to clarify that, you know, who do you actually meditate on when you're doing?
On? Yeah.
Who do you actually meditate on? Is it both gurus now, or is it just the initial one, or what?
Well, what is very clear is that the Diksha Guru will always have a special position of worship and adoration for you.
Yeah.
And also mention here that the Shiksha Guru should also be given respect, because it's the same principle, and they should both be given respect. But having said that, then the Diksha Guru does hold a special place for the disciple.
Yes.
Now, as far as the meditation upon the Guru Gayatris, interesting. Now, I should ask this question as well at someone, but now, from what I could understand, that you would meditate on both. You could meditate on both your Diksha Guru and your, well, actually here it mentions the Diksha Guru initiates a person into chanting the holy name and the Diksha mantra. So the Diksha Guru gives holy name, gives the holy name, and the Diksha Guru also gives the Gayatri mantras.
Yeah, that's what I kind of suggested, that we should like meditate. Bhakti Maharaj.
Yeah, who did you? So Anupama Nava.
Yes.
Could you do us a favor for this group?
Yeah.
Could you write to Kadamba Kanana Maharaj?
I will. Yeah.
It would be interesting to hear his answer.
Okay.
Yeah. What should the answer to the question is clear? Yeah. When I'm chanting the Guru Gayatri.
Yeah.
The Guru Mula Mantra and the Guru Gayatri. Should my meditation be on? Is it Bhakti True Swami was your Diksha Guru?
Yes.
Or should it be on yourself as the person who's given me?
Okay.
Yeah, because he is giving you on behalf of Bhakti True Swami. So it wouldn't surprise me if he would direct your meditation towards Bhakti True Swami.
Yeah, that's what I was understanding. Clarity on this, yes.
Because he's simply acting as an anga, as an anga of Bhakti True Swami in his absence.
Yes.
So he's doing that out of friendship and servitorship to Bhakti True Swami.
Yes.
Anupma, didn't you ask this question to Shivaram Swami?
Huh?
No, not this direct question. No, I didn't ask the direct question to him. No.
Okay. Sorry. I was under the impression you just took his blessing, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we have an interesting question. So you can write. I don't know whether Maharaj answers questions on email or what, but you can find out from his disciples.
Okay.
I mean,
I
some
will.
spiritual masters have an email ban because they get too many emails.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's stay at the edge of our seat to answer that question. Let's see if we can get the answer by next week.
Okay. Yes, I shall write today. Yeah.
I will also, if I remember, I'll also ask as well, devotees here, if I get a chance.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Chandravali Mother, you want to read another paragraph?
Okay.
Only let me, yeah, let's.
The teaching of Adi Guru must be followed. The Vaishnava disciplic successions are the real lines of saintly teachings and teachers. The Vaishnava lines have always disseminated the bona fide mantras, the proper scriptural conclusions, the authorized devotional process, and the ultimate goal of life. If one is to be protected from the perils of Mayavadi philosophy, then he should surrender to the spiritual master from a saintly line, namely a Vaishnava line. The teachings left by the founder Acharya and the Sampradayas are to be especially honored. Sri Ramanuja, Sri Madhvacharya, Sri Nimbarka Acharya, and Sri Vishnu Swami are the four original acharyas of the four Vaishnava lines. One should accept only their teachings and conclusions and not others. One should receive spiritual initiation in one of these four sampradayas and not others. A devotee must understand that the Adi Guru, original spiritual master of the sampradaya, is the Siksha Guru, and only his teachings are to be accepted and not those of any other scholar or teachers. And only a saintly devotee who has understood the teaching of the Siksha Guru is eligible to be a Diksha Guru for others. If one thinks that he can be initiated by a Mayavadi Guru into teachings of Krishna consciousness, he errs severely. He will not attain pure devotion.
Okay, hopefully that's quite obvious.
Yes,
It should be, but that's being mentioned because probably some people have done that in the past. They just got initiation from anyone and they're hoping to develop in a line of bhakti. It won't happen. But who's Adi Guru?
the original Guru.
Yeah, so who's, well, we could say other than Brahma, who is Adi Guru?
Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, Prabhupada has created a very distinct line called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And there's one wonderful, it's a must read actually for anyone who wants to take initiation. What's it called? That kind of, that essay that Ravinder Sarup wrote, which establishes the position of Prabhupada.
Here, I've got it.
Yeah, what's it called?
Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, a GBK Foundation document.
So I found it interesting because this is the Harinam Chintamani and it goes back a few hundred years, I think. And here in this paragraph here, it seems like it's almost been written for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in establishing Prabhupada. But it's not exactly like the followers of Ramanuja. There's many, as he lived hundreds of years ago, but all the gurus in his line followed the teachings of Ramanuja. He is accepted as the Adi Guru of that line. And similarly, Madhvacharya. So all the other gurus will represent Ramanuja or Madhvacharya. So all of our gurus, as we all know, will represent the teachings of Srila Prabhupada as the master of our particular offshoot sampradaya. Not offshoot is the wrong word, I think, but our, Gaudiya Vaishnav ISKCON society. Sounds a bit like a guru, what's the ISKCON disciple course. Anything else on that? So perhaps we have another hand up there. Kurumai, you like to read for us?
Okay. Accepts only a pure devotee as guru. He who imparts wrong teachings and he who receives them are both destined for hell.
Wow.
One who has accepted teachings and conclusions outside the line of a pure bhakti has wasted his life. How then can such a person become a spiritual master? How can he save other conditioned souls? He himself is an illusion and is therefore an imperfect being. So how can he bring good fortune to others? One must understand that a pure devotee is not an ordinary soul. The scriptures declare that he is the most eligible to be spiritual master. The Guru principle. The Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are both intimate servitors of Lord Krishna. They are eternally situated in the Vraj mood of service. They are manifestations of Lord Krishna's energy. Never make the mistake of judging the Guru as an ordinary mortal. The spiritual master is a representative of Lord Krishna's potencies, sent by the Lord as the eternal master of the disciples. He must always be worshipped as an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord, nourished by the Lord's superior spiritual potency. However, one must never consider the spiritual master to be the Supreme Lord. This is Mayavadi philosophy, not in line with the pure Vaishnava conclusions. The Vaishnava devotees are very wary of such misinterpretations, for Mayavadi whirlpool of word jugglery is indeed contaminating to the mind and heart. The spiritual master must always be worshipped according to the scriptural conclusions. When properly executed, these scriptures result in self-realization.
Yeah, could we just
Sorry,
pause
these
there?
practices result in self-realization.
Yeah, so just this sentence here, excuse me. The spiritual master is a representative of Lord Krishna. He's must never to be considered the Supreme Lord. So that's a mistake. I think they perhaps Vatikash, Mother, you know a little bit about the Swami Narayans. That's their concept, isn't it? Swami is Narayan. You need to unmute, Mother.
Yeah, that's how they
Yeah.
take it. But I think there's a deeper philosophy in it as well, because then there's this guru and he's got some kind of shadow or something like that. It's deeper than just the guru is God.
All right. So, but it's deeper than that.
Oh, yes. And there's something they say then that this is the reason he's taken as God.
All right. Okay. But anyway, so that term Swami Narayan, let's just take it from the external. So the Swami has become Narayan. So
all their sannyasis are Swami this and Swami that, all the sannyasis.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're quite clear on that. So it's interesting discussion because here we should worship the spiritual master as a representative of Lord Krishna's potencies. Yeah. Sent by the Lord as internal master of the disciple. Yeah. So there's liberated gurus and there's non-liberated gurus, but both should be seen in the same light. Should be given the same respect. Yeah. That's why the Guru Tattva sometimes gets very difficult to understand, especially when we start to bring in these principles of liberated gurus and non-liberated gurus. Yeah. Right, you can continue reading, Mother, if you like.
Guru Puja and respecting the spiritual master.
Mm-hmm.
The spiritual master is to be worshipped first. Only then may one worship Lord Krishna. The spiritual master should be offered different paraphernalia, like a nice seat, shoes, food bath, cloth, etc. Then, with the spiritual master's permission, one may worship the deities of Shri Radha and Krishna. Food must be offered first to the deities and then to the spiritual master, then to the demigods and other Vaishnavas. Without the spiritual master's sanction, one cannot engage in Radha Krishna worship. Before chanting the holy name, the disciple should remember the spiritual master and his instructions.
All right, perhaps just should stop there as well. There's a few details here. That's why in our recent Bajari committee meeting, one of them, we was addressing this issue here. Like we have an arti, you know, we have an arti tray, which is used for both. We have like the lamp, which is used for Krishna, is also used for Prabhupada, and the incense holder, etc. So that actually technically is incorrect. There should be a separate paraphernalia. So it says here, the spiritual master should be offered different paraphernalia, like nice shoes, food bath, etc. You know, just a small point there. So we're trying to address that in our D department. We're trying to get a separate. Well, now we have a beautiful 2 separate arti trays, beautiful silver arti trays. So we're trying to endeavor to get another set of lamp, etc. Yeah. So don't forget, in your enthusiasm to serve the spiritual master when he comes to a temple or he may come to your house, please don't forget to offer the bhoga to Krishna. Often that's an oversight. Devotees get so excited that they make up something for the guru and they just give it to him.
Yeah. But then I've heard something that the guru doesn't, in the early days, then they used to say, but the guru doesn't eat it because he himself offers it.
Well,
well, that's like how they used to talk in the early days when I was first joining.
Yeah, I mean that's that may be applied when you're on the altar, but I'm speaking about the actual personal presence of the guru. If he's actually there in his form, in his vapu form, then you're going to offer him prashadam. Now, there's one day where there might be an exception to that, and that's, as far as I know, that one day that might be an exception. That's Vyas Puja. Yeah, where you're cooking offerings directly for the guru, who then is directly, well, he is always acting, but specifically he is acting as Shakshat Ritvena. So he accepts everything on behalf. He accepts everything on behalf of the Lord. All the praise he accepts on behalf for the Lord. All the garlands he's accepting on behalf of the Lord, and all the offerings he's accepting on behalf of the Lord. Yeah, but if he happens to come to your house, you want to offer that to your picture first guru, or you can ask him. But yeah, sometimes I've gone to offer my spiritual master a garland, and he stops me. He says, "Is this being offered?"
Exactly the same. My Guru Maharaj did the same.
Yeah. Is this being offered?
Even at the airport, he would say, "Has it been offered to Srila Prabhupada at least?"
Even at the airport?
Oh, yes, he won't accept it.
Yeah, see, this is the principle. Yeah. So sometimes that may mean that offering, like what we do in our temple, we may make a garland and then we touch it to Prabhupada's feet, or we put it on Prabhupada. Prabhupada accepts it, and then we give it. But sometimes you be careful, because devotees get quite excited when a guru comes, and they can often quite a few oversights in their excitement. Of course, the spiritual master is graceful, and he'll instruct his disciple how to do things correctly.
I remember when our Guru, I remember when he used to come to our houses, we'd always cook whatever needs to be cooked, offer it to our Gonitai before.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, so you did that. Yeah,
we always, because in that way, principles, he was really strict with things like that.
Yeah, he's very, very strict, very good.
He made sure that
it was amazing, like Vyas Puja is coming up so shortly. And at the moment, it's like forefront, and you miss your Guru Maharaj so much.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting because we all used to get together and make lots and lots of preparations and offer it to Krishna. And then even the garlands, we used to make so many garlands and offer them,
garlands, yeah.
offer them to Srila Prabhupada. And we used to make extra ones because we used to get people from all over the country, especially Coventry, people used to come. And, you know, we used to share out all those garlands, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, so keep those memories in your heart that will sustain you for your life now, those cherished memories.
It's just reading this is like it's remembering how we started.
Yeah,
These were early ones in ISKCON, kind of pretty.
Yeah.
In South London.
It's best to write it down, because in a few years' time, when we are forgetting, then what we have written, we'll be able to read and then remember, oh yes, I used to do that.
Yeah, it's nice if you could do. Some of you might keep a journal, something like that. Write these words down, write these memories down. That's good if you're inspired like that.
You know, what I try to do is write to my spiritual master sort of like once a week.
Wow, nice.
And sort of keep the documentation and then try and go over it sometimes.
Very nice. I know some Prabhupada disciples do that.
I learned from them actually that even when your spiritual master is not around, you still write to him, and you grow from that. You grow spiritually by writing to him. You're telling him about your sadhana.
Yeah, so you're
and that makes you grow a little bit.
Yeah, so you are answerable to someone.
Yeah.
So that's very good. Actually, I experienced the problem. Many of us might experience the same, but when it comes to Vyas Puja offering, when we sit down to write it, it always elevates the consciousness. And sometimes I write Vyas Puja offering and think, well, I should write one of these every week. So that's what Kunamai is sharing. And she does that. Some of us might think of doing that. Writing. Yeah. All right, nice points. Very good. Where do you want to carry on reading, Mother? I think you're up to one who disrespects. Is that right?
One who disrespects the spiritual master commits a serious offense that will expel him from the path of pure devotion. Wow. The spiritual master, Lord Krishna, and the Vaishnavas must be worshipped with equal devotional favor. Undeviating faith and devotion in the spiritual master will lead to pure chanting and the final goal of obtaining love of God. Krishna Prem. Shall I continue?
Yeah, why not? There's no hands up yet.
Sorry, someone else can do that. My doorbell's going.
Okay, I can read it. If by some misfortune a spiritual master falls, okay, so here we're going on a different subject now. If by some misfortune a spiritual master falls into bad association, he gradually loses his spiritual realization and potency. And potency. At the time the disciple met him, the guru was bona fide and realized, but later, due to offenses against the holy name, Nama Parad, he became bewildered by Maya and bereft of knowledge. In this condition, he detests Vaishnav company and the chanting of the holy name. Gradually, he becomes enslaved by lust, greed, wealth, and women. If by the mercy of Lord Krishna, the disciple can see through all this, then he will reject his guru. Later, he can again seek a bona fide and pure devotee under his spiritual guidance and cultivate the pure name. Okay, so this is interesting. So spiritual masters falling away from the path or falling from grace is nothing new. again, this is Haridas Thakur. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Haridas Thakur. So hundreds of years ago. It's also in another scripture by Narahari Thakur. He describes the process to be followed if by some misfortune the spiritual master falls into bad association. Now, we also speak about this in the Guru Disciple course. But you have to, of course, you have to be a bit careful how we describe it. Because generally it doesn't happen. And I remember Jayanitai, he gave the example, Jayanitai Prabhu was give the example that just like when you get on a plane, then it's highly unlikely that the plane's going to crash, at least we hope, according to statistical figures. But still, they go through the protocol. Someone stands up. If the plane crashes, then the masks come down, and the life vests are here, the lights are here, the exits are here, just in case. So this is part of the education of a devotee in their path towards choosing a spiritual master. But it's highly unlikely, but it may happen, and it has happened in our society. So I think we're all aware of that. It's happened in the exact detail which has been described here. Yeah, spiritual falls into bad association. I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but I know one's previous big-time spiritual master. He practically followed this path which has been described in this paragraph. Yeah, he became averse to the association of Vaishnavas. Yeah, and he was propounding very heavily the 3 regulative principles. There's no guesses which one he was missing out. Yeah. So therefore, his disciples, they were directed, they could take. Now that's the only time you can take diksha again. Otherwise, it's against the law of deliberate succession. So that time you can take diksha. And some devotees will do it, and then some devotees will take a new name. Some devotees will actually keep their name. That's personal choice. Yeah. Like I know of friends of mine who took reinitiation and they took a different name. Some of them have the same name. So that's down to the particular inspiration of the disciple. If he wishes to really start, really get everything washed out of his hair, so to speak, in connection to his previous guru, then he will accept another name. Like that. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. So continue. The spiritual master must be strict with his disciples. Okay. He must correct a prospective disciple before initiating him and punish the wayward initiated ones. A disciple's spiritual life is rendered useless if he serves and worships an unqualified guru. But as long as the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple is stable, each remains qualified in his position. Then there is no question of rejecting the other. All right. So how does I'll ask a question here? How would the guru punish the disciple?
Tell him off.
Tell him off, yeah, that's one. Tell him or her off. Yeah, either in private or sometimes in public. Yeah, I think that's basically it. He's not going to use corporal. He's not going to use corporal punishment. So that's been done as well in our movement, unfortunately. Yeah, it happened in Scotland. I won't go into details. Yeah, and that spiritual master eventually fell down. Yeah, because of his treatment of his disciples. Another way that the guru might punish the disciple, which is he will just ignore him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He will just ignore him for some time. Yeah, I was speaking to one of my godbrothers actually, and like he did a big boo-boo. He did a wrong thing. And my Guru Maharaj was on his case like every time we saw him for about 6 months. It was on his case, wouldn't let him off, And then it came to the marathon, and he was distributing books with him, and he described how he was very sweet with him then, very sweet with him. And then as soon as the marathon finished, he started chastising him again. So they have a very close relationship, so we could do that. So we may be chastised, we may be reprimanded by the Guru. I mean, I've been chastised a few times by the Guru. It's always very purifying, very nice.
It's very, very sweet when you get chastised. It's amazing.
It may not be sweet at the time, but it kind of, but we should be careful that we shouldn't displease the spiritual master. That's our prerogative of a disciple, that we should act in such a way that we don't get chastised, But sometimes, due to our ignorance, then we will do the wrong thing. But his chastisement should be considered just like the chastisement of a loving parent. Yeah, they chastise and correct out of love. Yeah, just like a mother, if a child runs to cross the road without looking, then the mother's going to grab the child and shout in the child's ear, and may even smack them, lightly, Don't you dare do that, look left, because she's doing it out of love. So the spiritual master, oh God, time's disappeared. So the spiritual master will also do the same. It's just hit 6 o'clock, and I've got to be on another Zoom thing. So
fine, thanks.
So let's finish there. But interesting discussion, isn't it? Guru, disciple, principle, and let's continue this discussion next week. So thank you everyone for joining us. And tomorrow we are on Thursday, and we're at 6 o'clock. Nothing can stop that. 6 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes.
Premanande, Hari Bol.
Yes.